Behind me is the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, more specifically model year 20 variant. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about why now, this year, 2023, could be the year, or should be the year, to buy one of these, the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. But before we start to talk about the reasons why you should buy the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, it's probably worth giving you a quick bit of recap on what this actual car is. So the Giulia Quadrifoglio is a 2.9 litre V6 turbocharged engine. It runs 500 horsepower at peak power at 6,500 RPM. It has 443 foot-pounds of torque, and it will deliver that at its max between 2,500 and 5,500 RPM. 0 to 62 miles per hour is dispatched in just 3.9 seconds, and this will do 191 miles per hour top speed. It is powered by an 8-speed ZF gearbox with brilliant aluminium paddles. It is rear-wheel drive. Its suspension setup is a front double wishbone and rear multi-link suspension. As you can see, it does have Brembo brakes. You can spec in carbon ceramics, and we have 19-inch wheels. We have P0 coursers, and it's a beautiful little thing. But let's be honest, when it comes to big kind of changes, the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio hasn't really had that much. When you start to kind of look at the competition, you look at the likes of the BMW M3, there's been a number of variations since the F80. You also look at the C63. I mean, they've got a brand new engine with that new hybrid. Whether people like it or not is questionable. But since this car was released in 2015, it almost feels like Alfa Romeo have kind of lagged behind. So the real reason you're here is, why should you buy one of these in 2023? Well, let's jump in the car, let's go for a spin, and let's unpick that a little bit more. One of the main reasons why you should buy an Alfa Romeo in 2023, the Giulia Quadrifoglio more specifically, and I touched on it earlier on, is there hasn't been many changes in the grand scheme of things from the original model, which means this car, for example, model year 20, I think they were selling for around about 67k or 70k. Chuck some options in, it'll probably be a bit more than that. Model year 2024 car is due to come out very shortly. And if you go on Auto Trader and you have a look at how much the original Giulia Quadrifoglios are going for, you can pick one up with 50,000 miles for 35 grand in the UK, 35,000 pounds in the UK. Now, that is a flipping good deal. That is a really good deal. 35k for a 500 brake horsepower car that is ultimately a perfect daily car with amazing Alfa Romeo character and a pure driver's car. I think you're winning. But I know what you're going to say. Oh yeah, but the original car isn't as good as the one you're in now, and it won't be as good as the one you're in the future. Yes, I agree. Mainly though, you know, if you want LED headlights, you're going to need the model year 2024. If you want a little bit of Italian flag down here and a bit of an infotainment system, you're going to want the model year 20 car. But reality is, if you can get Apple CarPlay in your first gen Giulia, even as an aftermarket, I don't think they started them with Apple CarPlay, that's all you'll need. You know, the interface on CarPlay is far better than the Alfa infotainment, and it will always be. And arguably it's far better than majority of brands' infotainment systems. The other thing around why you should buy one is, like I said, it's extremely pure, this car. There is something to be said about that in this modern age. I mean, have a listen, it just sounds great. That V6 sounds fruity. Stick an exhaust on that, you're loving life. It's a shame I can't really rev this car. As you can see, it's chucking it down with rain now. The other part really, I'd say, if you look at the way cars are going, and maybe even just look at kind of Alfa, where their strategy is moving, you know, they're kind of really pushing this hybrid and I guess EV in the long run. Which begs the question, will they ever bring out like a new actual Giulia? You know, a new model? Because the facelift is one thing, but facelift really, it's not a revolutionary change. It's not, he's in a rush. It's not a revolutionary change. It's nothing drastic. When you look at kind of BMW and the C63s and what they've all done with their cars, it's significantly different to what Alfa have done with the facelift. The M3, you know, you look at the F80 M3, you now look at the G82 M3, completely different car in all aspects. You know, you've got X-Drive with front four-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive. You look at the Mercedes C63, they've gone from the V8, the 4.4 V8 now to a hybrid. The V8 is no more, but it's 700 horsepower. What have Alfa done since 2015 to model year 2024? We've still got the same 2.9 litre V6, 3.9 to 62, rear wheel drive, 500 odd horsepower. And don't get me wrong, it is a phenomenal engine. It's a Ferrari derived engine. It's brilliant. It's a California T engine minus 2 cylinders. But are they going to do anything different? I don't think they are. I don't think they are, because I just don't think that these sell well enough, first of all, for them to invest the R&D. And so it begs the question, you know, why would you go and buy a new car for like 70 odd grand when you can buy a first gen Quadrifoglio for 35 and have an extremely pure car? You know, as time is moving forward, I'm starting to look at the Quadrifoglio, the Giulia Quadrifoglio, as a bit of similar to what BMW did with the 1M. And if you recall the BMW 1M, yes, it was more limited edition, but the BMW 1M, the kind of designers, they were given free rein to do what they wanted to do, and that's what they did with this car. You know, they built the Quadrifoglio first, and they built the other cars as a result. As a result of that, you get all of this active aero in this car, which is amazing. You get all of the active aero in this car, which is amazing. It provides that playfulness, as you've just seen there. It provides that fear factor. It's intimidating. It's a pure driver's car, this Giulia Quadrifoglio. And that was said about the 1M when it came out. You look at like what's happening now with BMW. They're getting too clever. They're going too futuristic. This is a future classic. Genuinely, I think that this is probably the right time to buy a Giulia QV. Now, Alfa have done some teasing of late. A lot of us got quite excited, myself included, thinking that there would be a two-door Giulia Quadrifoglio. I don't think that's going to happen, but what they did do is a collaboration with Zagato, and they used the base platform for the Giulia and created this supercar or hypercar, well, a supercar with hypercar price. The price is extortionate, and they're going to be extremely limited. So normal consumers like you and I, realistic, are never going to be able to get a Zagato. We're just not going to do it, nor maybe we might not want one for that kind of money. Which kind of then goes back to the original point, is do you try and get yourself a Giulia GTAM, but again, they're on the best part of 150 grand, or do you spend 35 and buy a first gen one of these and get, you know, 95% of what you get in the new model cars? I think there's something to be said about that, genuinely. So that is the main reason as to why I think you should buy one of these now, because the price point is extremely appealing. The second one is, I'm not necessarily sure that Alfa's strategy will allow for more cars like this in the future, which is quite sad. I hope to be proven wrong. I really, really do. If you're in the market for something that is fun, something that's got character, something that's got brilliant dynamics, this is definitely one of those cars. I've said it in many, many, many videos. The steering on the Giulia Quadrifoglio is perfection. It's brilliant. It's so, so nice. The overall dynamic feel of the car is great. You know, it's relatively light in comparison to its rivals. You know, was it 1,500 odd kilos? They say this car is. 1,500 odd kilos, where the M3s now are coming in around 2 tons. It's a lot of weight difference, and you can feel that when you're throwing this thing around. It just feels so dynamic and fun and adaptable and playful. And for the money, 35k for a first gen, I think you should buy one. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick review of the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. I have plenty of videos on the Giulia QV. If you feel shortchanged by this video, please check the channel because there is loads of content on model year 20 cars, model year 19 cars, and in the future, model year 2024 cars, because that will come once I get out there for the press launches. So if you did like the video, please smash the like. Comments are always welcome, and I'll see you all on the next video. Take care guys, bye bye.